couldn't agree with you more there. Today's music, I stopped watching the Grammys and all that stuff a long time ago, but part of the problem is we've allowed other people to determine what our likes are and what our dislikes are, and at the same time, those same people that are trying to influence us to like this over here and not what we've already accomplished that's been determined as a landmark for our American art form, they're trying to take that away every chance they get. Every day I hear them trying to scrub our culture, the beginnings of jazz. Oh, well, jazz wouldn't be if the European aspects of the musical theory wasn't applied. No, because James mentioned Handel's Messiah. You can play Handel's Messiah just as it's written by Handel, but also you could take a guy like Duke Ellington or Charles Mingus, who will arrange it to where everybody likes it. And it's still the same music, but is it the devil's music then? Because Charlie Mingus is playing it, he's a jazz musician, or it's okay if Handel sit there with a ruffled front shirt directing his orchestra, and it's fine. But the minute that somebody like Thelonious Monk or B.B. King or Bobby Blue Bland rearranges a song and makes it, oh wow, I can actually get into it now, I can listen to it. It's just making things acceptable, or making things I don't want to say easier, but people can receive it better. It's like presentation. When you're making a nice plate of food, you don't just dump everything together in a big pile on somebody's plate. You kind of separate it, make it look good. The presentation is everything. And that's where we come in at, that makes us, because we're stylistic people. A lot of times we have to have some rhythmic or iambic pentameter or some type of groove going behind us. Even if we don't hear music, I hear music when I walk. You know, I hear a beat or rhythm. That's a rhythm of how I walk. I'm not one of those guys that go all extreme like they used to do on That's My Mama or JJ or something like that. But I'm just talking about there's a certain rhythm in how we walk. And then those people now are trying to make it, weaponize it against us. That's what I'm trying to say, I guess. So that's, the devil's music is just a term, I think, to scare people into going the direction they want them to go in.
So
they've already done it.
Yeah, I say because of, based on what you said and everyone has said, I would say the ones who are being called the devil is not the that spirit inside us that halting, that it makes us defy God, and makes us hate on each other. I would say the people they're calling the devil, and I'm going to take this off the preacher. I used to say, well, the preacher was losing money, so he wanted to pull all of the blues men back into the church. But I would say the devil is the one that was they said was singing the music, and that's us. And I think we've always been looked at as lower than human beings. And so I think that's the devil that they weren't referring to that thing that we imagine to be the horned, red, fiery thing that we came to be known as a physical devil. It was us performing our culture, and that was taboo in this society.
Yeah.
Let me just say one thing, because you really mentioned Howlin' Wolf. And when I was in elementary school, this kid had, when the first little transistor radios, you had to hook them up to a fence or something so that you could get a speaker, and Howlin' Wolf came on, and one of my teachers said, listen to that guttural music.
Yeah.
And, that's the first time I heard that term. I said, what is guttural?
Yeah, his mother. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying, Howlin' Wolf and Muddy Waters pretty much were the symbols of that.
Howlin' Wolf's mother, when he came to the city after he had done so well and offered her $500, she threw it back in his face because she felt it was money that was made devil's music. She just couldn't accept it.
Mm.
So
The same
you
thing
know,
happened to.
yeah, deep beliefs
Oh, people
in the
have said
community.
that they didn't like Otis Clay because he was known as the blues ambassador across the world.
Well, I do recall growing up in Shreveport, Louisiana in the 50s. And I used to listen to a lot of my uncle's 78s and my parents' records. I started out listening to the very first blues tune I ever heard was in 1956 by Elmo James called Dust My Broom. Now, I have no clue what that meant. I've since know what that meant. But back in those days, they said dust my broom and had these little sayings. And so that contributed more to that feeding of that frenzy with the people who were like in that group of people that James was talking about that's over here, that's more not secular, but that's more upstanding and religious. And these people over here are either heathens or whatever that other term you use, paganistic people. But when they refer to us, boy, get out of here with that heathen type of behavior, or don't go playing marbles, don't shoot marbles on Sunday, you'll go to the Tommy. Anybody ever heard that term, the Tommy? I only heard that from my grandmother in the 50s. I still to this day don't know. That's a form of the devil. Wherever the devil is, that's where the Tommy is. That's where he lives. It's hell, in other words, I guess.
Well, you know, that was certain music that they wouldn't even play on the radio. The lady that did Long John.
Did you what?
Yeah.
That did the song Long John.
Long John.
Yeah. Have you heard that song?
I've heard the song.
There's several different versions, yeah, but I think I got what you mean.
Please look it
Bessie
up.
Smith.
It was not allowed
Bessie Smith.
on the radio.
Yeah.
That was certain songs that in your community they wouldn't play on the radio.
Amen.
Yeah, look it up.
No, I believe you. Again, going back to the 50s, because that's what I've mostly heard a lot of this stuff. My parents, when we came to California, we became a little more liberated. But listening to, I would just be listening to a lot of grown folks because I thought I was older than I really was. So I'd be just kind of sponging up, and then they don't know I'm there, so they'd be talking freely. And so they was talking about this singer named Ted Taylor. Just like Little Richard, Ted Taylor was one of those great singers, but he was a gospel singer. And when he went over to the other side, Be Ever Wonderful was a big hit. That was the first time I ever heard that song, and I was a kid when I heard it. And then I heard a version of it years later by Maurice White of Earth, Wind, and Fire. But that guy was always talked about because he kept bouncing between what they used to say, well, he don't know if he want to be the devil's son-in-law or he want to be Petey Wheatstraw or he want to be somebody else, because he kept bouncing between secular music and gospel music, just like Sam. But Sam stayed. Ted went back, and I think he retired in the gospel field, because I don't think he did too many more of those. But in the 50s and the early 60s, yeah, he was bouncing back and forth a lot, and he was gay, and that didn't help any either at the time. So they was calling him the S word all the time, and this and that, and that's probably. But how come they always use those guys as excuses to point the fingers at that happen to be blues or jazz singers? And not the people who sang like, I don't know, like Nat Cole or Billy Eckstine was one of them too, I guess. But